everybody, and welcome back to Andertons TV. My name is Oz.
My name is Ollie.
Ollie is here.
Oz is here.
Ollie's here. And we are doing a celebration today. Andertons as a whole is doing a celebration of Oasis. I'm not sure if you've heard, but they're back together doing a tour, if you hadn't heard.
A small band called Oasis.
Small band called Oasis.
Indie band
up and coming.
Indie band from the 90s, I heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we thought we'd celebrate that and talk about the sound of Oasis, because I think it's, for so many people, old and young, there is a sound to the Britpop, the 90s.
Yeah.
And within that, Oasis are such a monumental band.
Such a huge band, and I think one of the last huge British rock bands that you just could not escape from, and it's nearly impossible not to be influenced by them. It doesn't massively matter what genre of rock and roll you're into, or even pop. There's just elements of what they did with sound, what they did with songwriting, what they did with the media that has influenced so much. We're going to concentrate on the sound and the wonderful instruments that they played and brought to the world.
Absolutely, which is why you're here, Mr. Ollie, because you are very much a super fan of the Oasises.
I do enjoy that type of thing.
Like, I grew up with it, and I was very much in my house. My parents were very, very much into Oasis. My stepdad was at Nebworth, very much spoken about a lot, and all the car journeys and stuff, but I never really delved into the guitar side of things. You, however,
my
much more well versed.
Yeah, so I had a brother who I live with, and he was like the perfect age for all of this. So he was 18 years older than me. I was born in '92, so he was 20 when Definitely Maybe dropped.
Right.
And having been a teenager with the grunge stuff and coming from America and stuff like that, and there not being kind of a British hard rock act of the moment, that the people were a bit more accessible, I think, to find. I remember having both Definitely Maybe and Parklife just on repeat in his room to the point where he'd come home from work and have to kick me out as like a 4-year-old boy jumping on his bed. So it's definitely the sound ingrained in my brain waves.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think people of this country of all ages, it is ingrained into us. There are very few songs you can't escape on the radio, and a lot of them are by Oasis.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Britain as a whole, the band itself is British through and through. With the Union Jacks and stuff like that, and then even going into the gear they use, a lot of what they've used, especially when it comes to the amps, it's all about the British stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, even when they took American guitars, old American beautiful Sheratons, and emblazoned them with a Union Jack, I can't quite imagine someone doing that with a Marshall stack at stateside as a flip thing. Yeah, it was definitely something, in a celebration of Cool Britannia. That was very much the movement.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
The gear that made that, we have some very nice pieces here, Oz, don't we?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, newest of which, new Noel Gallagher signature Epiphone. Is it a Riviera?
Yes, the Riviera, yes. So in the 90s, the reissues... The Rishis. In the 90s, the reissues of the Riviera and actually the Sheraton were stop-tail and larger humbuckers. This one was actually one Noel had picked up, I believe, second-hand, and happens to be an 80s one. For more information, check out our buddies at That Pedal Show do a fantastic Noel Gallagher interview. He'll go into all the detail for it. But this is the copy of his Epiphone, very much of second album era and vintage. Slightly deeper wine red, looks really, really cool. And this is nice. It's got a very thin C-neck profile, almost a D. It's got a slight flatness to the back of it. But this is one of those slightly more expensive Epiphones where you can feel nice things, like we've got some good Grover tuners on here, which have been really helpful today. There's a lot of grunts in these pickups as well.
Yeah. And hopefully it's not just that particular guitar, but getting that out of the box today and having a play with it, it's great.
Yeah.
It feels amazing.
It rings just, acoustically, just you can hear this thing's right up to the challenge.
Yeah, arguably the best colour I've ever seen in an Epiphone as well. I love the wine red on anything. I think it's amazing.
This is the Epiphone, and I believe this might be the cheapest sort of in-category piece of gear we're playing today, because these are very available. We do a little snippet on the Les Paul as a kind of tip of the hat to the slightly earlier days, before Noel was completely associated with things like you have there, Mr. Oz.
Yes, absolutely. Before we move on to this, I'll just say, if we had a black Les Paul Custom, we would have it, but we don't right now. But there will be. Links below.
Yes, there will be. Absolutely.
This is, well, I don't really know. I mean, you kind of handed this to me, but this is
I found it
absolutely when ES-335. Amazing colour, super dark red. Yeah, this is absolutely piff. The colour on the back of the neck is amazing, and it's an absolute pleasure to play. Every note defined, Probably helped by the amps as well. I
Yes.
mean, honestly, with these amps we're playing today, I think you could play anything to them and it sounds amazing. But this guitar feels and looks and sounds incredible. We've all been just basking in the bar chordy goodness today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're kind of taking a bit of poetic license of some Noel parts, and then some Bonehead stroke Gem Archer parts.
I've been given that responsibility today, which is fine. I'm letting Ollie knows all the intricate chordy things, and I'm just like, yes, I play Bard A and Bard B. That's my job.
And he knows how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
So the 335, we went Noel G colour. I believe Bonehead had a Sunburst Sheraton as well. But yeah, that thing sounds really, really special.
I think we should talk about the amps because I thought the amps are. I mean, if you've, I'm sure by this point you've heard one or two of the performances. The amps are the highlight of this sound by a country mile.
Yeah.
British sound through and through, right?
I mean, early days, Noel Gallagher he experimented with stereo rigs. He had actually quite an affordable Marshall and quite an affordable Wem, just what was available to council estate lads in Manchester.
Dominator, right? Wem Dominator. I think that's the one.
Yes, but very much not letting gear get in the way of just going out there and being horrifically loud. By the time, obviously, they've got a couple of bob and they're focusing on and they're able to afford some nice stuff. Oh my goodness! So the Vox AC30, they actually had a 50-watt bass version for the second album, I believe, onwards, or it might have just been that second album. But they certainly toured with an AC50 head. And later they got Hiwatt involved, and we have a very special custom 50 here. And oh my God, it could be the heaviest amp.
Heaviest amp I've ever picked up. I almost had a stroke carrying it upstairs.
I mean,
I've lost considerable time off my life from getting upstairs.
Yeah. And I had a stroke watching him have a stroke with it. It was quite sweaty. No, it's a dense piece of kit, but sounds incredible.
It sounds dense.
It sounds absolutely incredible. I'm going to make sure this one's off and make sure this one's on. Even turning it on gives a feeling of power.
A feeling of fear, I think.
Yeah.
Not power, fear.
Yeah. It's that sort of noise that the Death Star winds up as it's firing before it blows Alderaan
up.
The master volume on this is so sensitive. It is a really big open amplifier. You can hear the pick attack. This is a proper player's amp. This is really testing the limits of my talent. But we have got 4 inputs with a bright and a normal channel. The bright volume and the normal volume stack up, so you can get a fair bit of gain out of it. I am pushing this with a tube screamer, but we'll get to that later. Here with volume on about 2, and the inputs on about 12:30. Just clarity and a
Clarity.
Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely something Hiwatts have moved into their rig as they kind of got a bit more, should we say, touring budget.
Yes.
And needed those huge, bigger stadium sounds. and this thing absolutely delivers. I have this paired with a Vox AC30. This is the blueback speakered version, the X.
Another disgustingly loud British amp.
Absolutely, and these are not lightweight either.
No.
I think for the watt, the AC30 for me holds the record as the most kilogram per watt in terms of weight of amp.
Yeah.
But...
I'll turn it down a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, this is the part of it, right? I mean, we've been playing these so loud, and as soon as you get it to that volume, honestly, the EQ doesn't really matter that much. The tone is just in the volume.
That's a big point. It's a big point in that we could give you some settings. I would probably just set them to taste for the guitar. Just the fact the amps are on and they are this high and loud. I mean, we've easily been hitting 109 in the room, and my goodness, it's been wonderful.
Yeah. Go on.
So this is both amplifiers with the AC30, just for a little bit of hair. Yeah, you wouldn't want a huge amount more gain for Don't Look Back in Anger, but on the rest of the songs, you want a lot more gain.
Yeah, there's way more gain than you'd think on a lot of the stuff, as Ollie has taught me.
Especially on the early bits, oh my goodness. But yeah, it's a righteous sound, as I'm sure you've heard in some playing parts. Oh my God, it's been fun.
The Halcyon doing the TS9 kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I've been using some various settings on the Halcyon because it's a love letter to Tube Screamers from Origin Effects, so well built. And this has just been fantastic. So just a quick part of the...
Rowdy.
So rowdy.
Yeah.
Then a DD3, very, Noel Gallagher will use one of those, and the RV6, of course, a staple. That's quite a simple pedal rig, but you really don't need much when the amps are this good.
Yeah, with a lot of these bands as well. I mean, like Oasis were using, like as a lot of bands were at the time, a lot of the bread and butter things that everyone was using really. Just big loud amps, tube screamers, Roland Space Echoes, a lot of the obvious things, So this isn't the hardest thing in the world. It's buy a big amp, turn it up, and rock out. That's kind of it.
Absolutely.
Speaking of rocking out, I'm using a JCM 800. We don't have the full fat JCM 800 right now. Maybe we do by the time you watch this video if you check the links below. But right now we're using the studio JCM 800, and it's pretty loud in its own right. And I guess it being a little bit lower wattage has allowed us to just absolutely crank it and get all that gain.
And that's the thing. I think with us keeping our skin on our bodies, having the 20 watt one has saved us, because that's a huge part of the sound.
Yeah, and it's kept up with these. Yeah. I mean, it's like, do not scoff at these little studio Marshalls, because they can like hoof sound out.
And it's only through a 112 as well. It's,
it sounds pretty nuts. So before I go into any pedals, let me show you this, because it's pretty gnarly. First of all, horrendous amounts of background noise. Like, what? Unusable. But I'm going to turn this up now, and I'm going to hit a couple of chords. Bloomin' mint.
It's not rocket science. Have a Gibson, have a Marshall, turn up. I mean,
classic.
Yeah.
And then, as if that wasn't enough gain, I mean, obviously for the Don't Look Back in Anger and stuff like that, I am turning the preamp volume down a little bit and just quieting it down a little bit, and then rocking on like 7 on the volume, and it sounded quite nice. But then for the rest of it, it was all pretty gnarly, to be honest. I haven't really dialed in anything, really. Again, you don't need to. It's just about the volume and that stadium sound, that British sound. But I had the RV6 and the Roland Space Echo. I don't even know how I've set these. I've just kind of had them, and it sounds pretty good. But the Camaflanger was just for a little bit of flangey goodness in Colombia.
In Colombia, at the start of that, and just brings a bit of movement. You can hear it on the recordings. You can hear tremolo in the recordings just as Noel gets an AC30, which makes sense. Layering up so many layers of guitars is the Oasis sound on record.
And it's of the time as well, like I say, it's just that 90s thing, man. Everyone was doing it, and it really reminds me of like a Boss DS2. I know that sounds like an insult, but like, it really isn't. I mean, it's just like of the time. It's almost, like, dare I say, like Nirvana-y, like in a little bit of a way. Sometimes, like when you really listen to that, and they might be buried in the mix a little bit, but there's some pretty gnarly guitars going on, some thick guitars, you know?
Where we are with the 335 and the Marshall, we're not a million miles away from grunge.
Yeah.
And when you consider that Oasis were, I guess, the slight retort to the Britpop of London bands and stuff like that, turning the grunge up, turning that gain up.
Yeah, it's the excitement of it. It makes it sound huge, and it does. And then having the DCX boost as well, it's just...
I love that thing.
Yeah, I used it for the start of the Morning Glory. Beep, 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 and it sounds pretty good. Just like almost AC/DC, but just that much more British.
Yeah, just extra layers in because why not? Oh, that was a hiss of things being on.
We're exhausted. Just the sound. I mean, the sound's great, but hopefully you've seen in the performances throughout this video, we've tried to vary it up between us because Ollie's has informed me about the kind of way they layer the guitars live, right?
Noel and Bonehead at the time, when they were sort of early days, they kind of, one of the few things they really discussed and thought about, and it's quite clever because it's so simple and not many people would think about it, is that Noel essentially said, how about I'll play open chords. And, you know, that's why he kind of uses a capo a lot more than a lot of electric rock guitarists.
Yeah.
Because he will go to the ends of the earth to not play a bar chord. And then Bonehead would just play bar chords. And it really gives this thick grunt. With the shorter strings, it keeps everything very focused. And then all the big, long, lavish variations that Noel does with his open chording, you know, it's why an Oasis songbook has got, it almost looks like a jazz chord book. Like an Oasis songbook with like D sustained fourths and, you know, A-add major ninths or whatever is just, it seems quite unnecessary. It's just Noel. I guess the confidence to not overread it, not overthink it, and just go, if I leave this string open, this sounds really good.
Yeah.
It's a good chord.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Do that.
Yeah. That complements how they treat the sound of the gear as well. You have these simplistic things that all go together really, really well. Classic sounding things, right? The wideness, the stereo amps, already wide, and then that complements with Bonehead's amps as well.
Yeah.
These three in particular just sound incredible.
Yeah.
if that wasn't wide enough already, and give it that huge feeling, that's then doubled by the chord choice and the way they choose to play it live, and then it gets even bigger and bigger and bigger.
Absolutely.
But I think just really just complements and demonstrates why Oasis are just such a inspirational live act. And so many people have gone to the gigs and had their life changed by this band.
It's one of those bands where you listen to them on the record and it sounds big, like you're at a gig. There's an excitement to them, and there's, the guitar layers really affect that. They layer acoustic guitars in there. There's a lot of Johnny Marr influence in there, and Long Shall It Be. That kind of buzz, that thickness, that bigness, that unashamedness to just go for it.
Yeah, hammer chords.
100%.
Huge amps.
And
mate, this is rock and roll, man.
That's it, it's rock and roll.
It's what it is. Mate, I don't know what else to say. I mean, aside from that, you should stay tuned, because as part of this big Oasis celebration, there will be more videos coming onto the channel, so make sure you are subscribed. This includes acoustic things.
Yep.
Ollie and I have also done a affordable version of this video where we can try and get Oasis's kind of sound as close as we can get for under £1,500, which is, it was a cool challenge as well. So keep an eye out for that one.
Loads of deals and offers going on with some of these gears. Do check online always for the latest bits.
Any one of these 3 amps will be the best purchase decision you've ever made in your life. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Or this, if you're feeling really spicy, this £10,000 ES-335, because it's sick. Is it not?
Oh, I said 5 figures. I thought it was 5.5.
Oh, right, okay.
My apologies. It's £5.5 grand. You can have 2.
Well, there we go.
There we go. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. We're giving away pedals every 10,000.
You just keep going.
Have a good come to the store. Have a fondle of the guitars. We quite like that. Do take care. Thank you so much for watching.
Bye, Noel.
Bye, Noel.
I'm sorry.